Hi, welcome to the show. We have a fun show planned for you tonight, but first, we would like to acknowledge the tragedy that happened in Minnesota this week, the murder of Dante Wright at the hands of the police. This is an ongoing issue of unarmed black men being killed by police, and as individuals, it may feel like there's nothing we can really do to help change the situation, but you've probably seen this graphic going around of ways to donate to Dante's girlfriend and support his son. So we would like to encourage you to donate whatever you can to help those who've been hurt the most at this time, because that really kind of is the least that we can do at this time. So thank you for that. Let's just have a quick moment of silence, and then we'll be starting the show soon.
Hello, and welcome to Random Movie Roulette. We are back with an episode about Dick.
Yeah,
it was a long time coming.
Yeah, it feels we're coming in to talk about this lighthearted movie after but, you know...
We had to address it, you know, just for full transparency. We're trying to be as sensitive as possible about it. It's rough to be funny during such a difficult time, so, you know...
But I also feel like we're here to, you know, provide some levity.
Yeah.
And escapism, so...
Hopefully you guys escape.
But also still to be, you know, conscientious and to be, you know... yeah, to show
a decent human being.
Yeah.
We don't have to go on about it. We are here to talk about Dick.
Which is my favorite thing to talk about.
Yeah, I found that to be true.
Yeah.
Over the years of knowing you.
Yeah. So we were talking about this, but we're
it.
also the main event tonight. We had fun doing the bracket last time, but today we decided that we're going to be going into my favorite thing to talk about is stupid trophies. So we're going to be doing a tier ranking list of every movie that has been nominated for Best Picture in the 2010s decade, because by the time that this episode will be going up, it'll be the week of the Oscars, and none of the movies from the Best Picture lineup from this year are on that list yet, but I've seen all of them, as I tend to do every year, so we're gonna have a lot of fun discussing what belongs where and everything. So
and also fun seeing who hasn't seen what, because I think those answers will surprise you.
And I've also got to say, I love that we're now admitting that the highlight of these episodes is no longer the movies themselves.
Well, let's take a look at the movie that we selected this week, and once we watch this trailer, I think you'll all understand why the main event is what it is, but there is plenty to say about this movie. Let's just say that up front. Here's a trailer for Pee-Pee. Anthony asked us to call it Pee-Pee.
Max, call the cops. Looks
Also,
like we got
I don't know why
a break in
we
here.
can't hear it, but they can. I also don't know why you guys are orange. We're having weird technical difficulties here today, guys, but stick with us. It won't persist.
I have met yams with more going on upstairs than those two.
I've got a way with young people. Trust me. They knew he was big. Call me Dick.
Guess what happened to us today?
They knew he was powerful.
How would you two be interested in being official White House dog walkers? What do you think?
Again? They must never let him out.
And they thought they could trust him.
Who the hell are you?
Oh, why were they shredding all that paper?
Songs they
Paper
play in the
mache
trailer.
is a hobby of mine.
What 70s hit songs are they playing in this
learned
trailer?
the truth.
We heard that tape.
What'd you hear?
You kid checkers. You're a bad man.
We've got problems.
How long is this trailer?
This summer,
Carl Bernstein, Washington Post. Tell me your story, please.
No things about Dick.
What?
What did you just say? I mean, President.
comes the almost true story.
How old are you?
23.
Is that your combined ages?
There's no need to be snotty.
of two best friends.
I think it's only on the screen.
Whatever she's on, I didn't give it to her.
So socially responsible.
These girls are.
This is the whole fucking movie. Security? We're just watching the movie right now.
So emotionally involved.
7 years ago, our forefathers did something. I don't know what.
And so politically correct.
Isn't it against the law to cut up the flag?
I did.
Not if you sew it back together.
They were destined to take over the White House.
That is the end of the movie.
Yes, but you can't have any. They're for the president.
These are the yummiest cookies I've ever had.
How come there's oregano in the walnuts? It's a secret recipe.
Whoa.
Maybe that's why he's so paranoid.
Kirsten Dunst, Michelle Williams, Jim Breuer, Will Ferrell,
This is the whole movie.
Foley, Bruce McCulloch, Harry Shearer, and Dan Hedaya
Feeling lightheaded.
as Dick.
Hi.
Got the cookies?
Well, if you were worried, like, oh man, I'm watching this podcast and I haven't seen Dick yet, well, fucking congratulations, because now you have.
Dick.
That was the whole goddamn movie. We didn't even have audio.
And I could tell, like, I don't know
Yeah.
what jokes that they landed in the trailer, but looking at visually, I'm like, wow, they went through the entire plot of the movie. And you're wondering, like, well, it's a comedy, it's like a teen girl comedy, like, how important can the plot really be? But when it's involving one of the most notorious presidents in human history, which I have to admit, like, this idea, it's funny, like some, like, ditzy teen girl comedy around the Nixon administration, but I have to imagine that, like, let's say in 20 years time they try to do the same thing but like with Trump. I'm like, I don't think that'll be enough time for it to
Trump
be
hired
funny.
teenagers to work his Twitter account. He
So-
didn't actually know how to type.
So, Mike, you're saying in 1999 it was too soon to joke about what happened with Nixon.
No, I'm saying at the
Watergate.
time this would have been. I guess this would have. Again, I was not alive during
In
Nixon's
the same
administration,
distance
so
this was from Watergate, Mike thinks we won't look back on Trump with as much levity as people did with Nixon and Watergate.
Yeah,
because Nixon, you can like poke fun at like the Watergate scandal and like all the news coverage around it, but like I feel like with Trump, it got to such a dark place that I'm like, I don't think that like, and SNL has tried making like light of a lot of like Trump's antics. Over the past
they
4
tried
years.
for 4 years and they failed.
And that's the other
miserably.
reason why it won't be funny is because like every joke that could possibly be made has already been made now.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
there's nothing funny. The whole problem with making fun of the Trump era is that there's nothing funnier than what's happening. Like, there's nothing more outrageous or more absurd than what's actually going on. Like, you're not gonna. Fuck, I can't even use the word Trump, like the actual word Trump anymore. That's really disappointing. I mean, you're not going to one-up him as far as ridiculousness goes. So constant attempts to make fun of what's happening just
And also,
always
yeah,
fall
Nixon
flat.
had the ability to be embarrassed. That was
Right.
and no like cartoonish caricature of Trump is gonna be dumber than
the
who he
real
actually
fucking
is.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, keep in mind when Nixon was elected, like that was the fucking underdog story. Like people didn't think he was gonna win because they started doing televised interviews, debates and shit, and he looked like a sweaty mess. And
I mean, the same thing was kind of the case for Trump. Like everybody thought, like, oh, he's a bumbling idiot and he's not gonna win.
But he had, I fucking hate the man. He had like a charisma.
He had an appeal
that Nixon
for a
just
certain.
didn't.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, we do not need to teach these people about Trump. I don't know why we got so
No,
far
we
into this.
don't. But
So, the merits of having a teen comedy, at some point a teen romance comedy, centered around the Nixon administration, like, do you think that was ultimately like effective in telling a teenage story in a new way, or do we feel like they just molded a story around this concept and put these characters in it because that idea is funny?
I think it's like the idea of like, because also at this point Deep Throat had not been revealed, so like the idea of what if Deep Throat was these two ditzy blonde girls.
Which, spoiler alert, that's the end of the movie. They were Deep Throat. They pretty clearly set it up at the beginning.
And
but
I mean, Will Ferrell is Bob Woodward and stuff. So that stuff's kind of stupid. I think seeing like Dan Hedaya as Nixon and seeing the girls become enamored with him and like Michelle Williams' character actually falls in love with him.
The idea of anyone
Falling in love with Nixon, which is again
Insane.
kind of the Trump v. Nixon thing, whereas Nixon's just like was always seen as this completely unlikable lizard person that like just was cold and had no real human emotions. And then it's like that any human being other than Pat Nixon, let alone a teenage girl, could like fantasize about riding naked horseback on a beach with him is...
Do you think that was the teenage girl fantasy? In 1999, they were like, beaches, horseback, no saddles.
Well, I mean, also that's kind of played for the jokes. Like, it's funny that like this teen girl, and she's also played as like the nerdy one.
Yeah.
So it's like it's funny that like she's so hot over Richard,
Over the biggest
over
square in the
Tricky
world.
Dick.
Yeah. So I'll be honest. When we drew this movie from the list, I had never heard of it. I did not know this movie existed. It wasn't that far out of my purview that it would make sense that I would miss it. What is your guys' relationship with this? Because I feel like, Jack, I remember you kind of vouching for this one when it came up.
I don't know if I vouched for it. I only just learned about it because I played this really cool 2-player tug-of-war board game called Watergate that my last roommate introduced me to because he made board games. And this game, the whole thing was you are either on the side of the Nixon administration or the press, and it's just a race to either expose Watergate or cover up all the leaks. And it's fun and it's strategic and it's actually a great 2-player game, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who is A, interested in poli-sci history, or B, just wants kind of a fun strategic game with their partner or something. But my roommate had asked me like, oh, have you ever seen this movie like about Watergate? Like, it's kind of funny and Kirsten Dunst is hot and yeah. So that was basically all I had. But I was like, Kirsten Dunst and Michelle Williams are... of actresses of that age group in the 1990s, they've gone on to somewhat more prestigious things than others. I think now we look at them and we just think, oh, look, it's Lady Venom and MJ fighting Richard Nixon. But,
the roles of a lifetime.
Yeah. If you've done a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and or Ryan Reynolds, you are therefore an artistic actress.
Yeah. I'm pretty amazed that this movie is not more popular than it is, because, like, it is prime for, like, I don't know, film Twitter memes and shit like that. Like, it is such a bizarre, especially during the last 4 years. The fact that this did not blow up during the Trump administration is nuts.
There was a great moment where, like, after the Watergate scandal kind of got broke, they call Nixon and they're like, is this Watergate true? And then Nixon's like, oh, no, not at all.
Isn't there anything I can do for you?
Yeah, you said his name before, but homie playing
Dan Hedaya.
Yeah, Richard Nixon. Jesus Christ, what a terrible, like, cartoony impression it is. It's
Nixon
fun for
just
this.
Is such a fucking cartoon of a character.
I mean, then again, there have been, like, you can get real performances out of playing Nixon, like Frank Langella and Frost Nixon, or as you point out, Michael Shannon. And
well, he was Elvis in that. I said that as a joke.
Cranston was Richard
was
Nixon.
He? Well, who was Nixon in that? Was it him?
It was Cranston. Cranston was Nixon. Michael Shannon was Elvis. But, I mean, for this, obviously, it's a comedy you need to go over. Dan Hedaya's been in a lot of dramas and stuff, too. He was in Blood Simple, which was the first host pick I ever gave Lewis, and Lewis liked that.
I adore that movie.
Yeah.
That's a fucking awesome movie.
So,
I have to get that Criterion.
Yeah, he's a character actor. But I think he does a good job. He also just, I think, looks the most like Nixon without makeup
I can
or
see
anything.
that, yeah. Absolutely.
Like, when I see Frank Langella, I don't automatically think, oh, he looks like Richard Nixon. I feel like whatever casting director thought, hey, Dan Hedaya looks a lot like Richard Nixon.
He fucking nailed it.
He should be
who
Richard
doesn't look
Nixon.
like... Will Ferrell does not look like Bob Woodward.
No, he doesn't.
But I really, really liked the Bob Woodward shit. I mean, okay, so background...
journalism majors, homeboy represent.
We went to school for journalism for too long, and in every journalism class you'll ever fucking have, they're gonna show All the President's Men at least once. You'll watch that twice every year, at least, in class. And so I'm so fucking sick of Woodward and Bernstein. And I think what they did is amazing. I think they're incredible journalists who, like, anyone...
And the movie
anyone
is
who
great,
can bring down the president is great.
It's an awesome movie, but I'm so done with it. I hate it. I loathe it. I can't watch it ever again. I'll never be able to watch it again. I can't do it.
Even though we will acknowledge it is a great film. Like,
fucking fantastic, amazing movie. Yes.
But, like, yeah, it's especially only ever having to watch it in academic contexts.
Yes.
It does make it a little bit repetitive.
There's something like really weird about being held hostage and then shown a movie. Like we can't leave.
Although I feel like in recent years that movie has become Spotlight because I was TAing a journalism.
I was in that class.
Oh, you were in that
I
class?
was in that class that you're TAing.
Yeah, I was TAing a class and then they showed Spotlight. So I feel like Spotlight is now being taken as like the
new journalism thing. At least it's not.
We'll be talking about Spotlight later on and the Post later on in the show.
Oh man, I fucking love Spotlight.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, this came out in 1999 when you had God knows how many teen comedies, God knows how many other great movies. For Kirsten Dunst alone, it was the year that The Virgin Suicides came out, that Drop Dead Gorgeous came out.
Yeah, this was, and also Michelle Williams at this point. I'm like, I don't really know if she was known for anything other than being on Dawson's Creek. Yeah, that was what I was about to say.
Dude, that was enough back then, man. Yeah. I mean, like that shit was like popular to an extent I don't think teen soap operas can be anymore.
Riverdale.
I mean, yeah, Riverdale is just Dawson's Creek with murder.
Yes, but I do think like that version of popularity is not the same as Dawson's Creek
Appa is
popularity.
No James Vanderbeek.
Yeah, he's in the fucking Power of Prayer bullshit movies or whatever. Like he
KJ
sings about
Appa
Jesus and he brings people back to death. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
I thought
I was gonna say if you were talking about James Vanderbeek, I was gonna be like, bite your friggin'
James
tongue.
Vanderbeek is the shit. Yeah,
James Vanderbeek is like Ryan Reynolds if I could stand Ryan Reynolds. I'm
Mark
just kidding.
H.
I like Ryan Reynolds. Who's in this movie?
He is Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is in this movie. Is that some sort of 6 degrees of separation for him and Michelle Williams? He wasn't in Dawson's Creek. No.
Ryan Reynolds?
No. I was thinking of Vanderbeek.
Guys,
he's not in this movie. So.
The chat has opinions here,
yes.
And I think we need to address it. Mark H. points out John Cusack was Nixon in The Butler. Is that Lee Daniels the Butler?
Lee Daniels the Butler.
If you Mark, I'm telling you a warning. If there are gonna ever be rules to our chat, if you reference the Butler, it is Lee Daniels the Butler.
Legally, it has to be Lee Daniels.
It's
the
like
Butler.
hyphenating Spider-Man.
YouTube will take this video down if they see we're not properly crediting Lee Daniels for his amazing work on I actually haven't seen that movie, so I can't.
I know
really
it's a lot of famous people as presidents for like 5 seconds.
Anthony also pointed out late night comedians are on suicide watch right now. I agree. And Jordan comes to defense of Dan Hedaya, saying Dan Hedaya fits into some of our environments, but not all. He didn't fit in Alien Resurrection either. I guess that's not quite defense, but it's in that neighborhood.
Does anyone fit into Alien Resurrection?
I think that's the only Alien movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Aliens versus Predators
notoriously
movies.
the worst, but anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the Alien versus Predators.
Those
either,
don't even
but they don't count. Yeah,
I think those are super fun. I mean, they're not good, but they're a good
at
time.
least better than the first one.
Yeah.
But
I watched them both when I was like 7, and it was
exactly
cool because, yeah.
When you haven't seen either franchise and you don't know what a good movie is.
Right, exactly. To be able to enjoy movies. Can you imagine?
God, imagine it, film Twitter. Imagine if we don't have to
watch a Roland Emmerich movie and think this is cool.
Imagine possessing a sense of joy.
Imagine not needing to make a stupid controversy for every movie that comes out for no reason.
Got a thorn.
Yeah, we'll get into it during our next segment. But speaking of segments, let's take a quick break here because I want to point something out pretty amazing. We did just go and reference the chat, our folks joining us in the chat on twitch.tv/RMRoulette. However, we are currently streaming across Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and for the first time on Instagram, on my Instagram, however helpful that is, at RMRouletteLewis, giving that one a shot. On all platforms but Instagram, you can actually join us in the chat and they should come up. So if you want to jump in, you want to say something, please, I encourage you, use that chat feature. Unless you're on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I don't know, fucking maybe pick another platform. What do you want me to tell you if you want to chat? I'm not a god.
Can I take out my phone and I can look at the Instagram chat?
If there's go for it. Oh man, I forgot. Oh wait, no, we can't have phones near the mics.
Well, I won't keep it near the mic.
I don't believe you. Let's take bets here. How long before you think Mike forgets and we start hearing some weird crackly sounds?
I'm gonna give it.
Live. I don't see it on there.
All right. Well, I don't know what's going on with Instagram, so let's keep moving on.
All right. So back to this movie. So the way that this movie starts out is that these two characters are in the Watergate Hotel the night of the scandal, and and they're being like spied at by like the people across the building.
Basically, like Nixon's has like two idiots just like oogling them, and that's the opening. But it doesn't really matter. But I don't remember the entire.
I do think it remembered that like they were there. I think that was like the setup is that they were there at the Watergate, and then they end up going on like a class field trip to the White House. And then while they're wandering around, they end up walking in on Nixon.
I think the setup is Michelle Williams' mom lives in the Watergate.
Yeah, is that? It's yeah, because we were looking at it. We were like, do they live there? Like,
yeah, I completely had to call into question like what the fuck the Watergate Hotel actually was. I only ever think of it in the context of this scandal. To think at any time people like came and checked in and checked out, or I guess in these situations, this movie at some point potentially lived there. I was confused. They seem to have their own very decked out room in the Watergate
like a
Hotel.
Deal like the Plaza, like you can live there or get a room.
Right,
but
like,
there's also the DNC office there. So
yeah, but we also see that
it's a complex.
Right, but later on they're in a townhouse or something like in
well,
DC.
Kirsten Dunst lives in a townhouse. Michelle Williams lives in the Watergate.
Right. Okay. This is making more sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So then
we have to talk during the movie. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah. So then, while they're on their class field trip, they get cornered by the officials and brought into Nixon's office, and then they're like so starstruck that, oh my god, it's the president of the United States. And that's kind of the setup, is that like these two awe-stricken, like naive little girls are like, oh my god, it's the president of the United States,
and
he's so dreamy.
Just plays the good guy, and like the first thing they say to him, like after just like, oh my god, you're the president, oh my god, you're the president, is like, we think war is bad for young people and living things. And he's like, yes, hear that, boys? The voice of America. And it's like, of course Nixon's going to prolong the Vietnam War and doesn't give a shit what these girls say, but he acts nice.
I mean, like seeing his staff like get so personally offended was really funny. I think that was actually the moment where I was like, oh, like this is kind of an enjoyable thing. And I can see how someone, you know, an adult in 99 who probably lived through all this would probably find this all very topical and very funny. And I guess after an appropriate amount of time as well. I guess that is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I don't know if it was like, because it shows in the movie that like, obviously like, you know, people on our side of the aisle would know that Nixon is a monster from day one. But to a lot of like the American populace, like, he was the president and you respected him and he was like a noble person or whatever.
Right.
And then that sentiment kind of lived on until like the end of the Watergate scandal. Because even it shows like there are parts in the movie where like their parents are like, I'm sick of hearing about this Watergate scandal. I'm sick of hearing what
take him down. Which, to be fair, is what a lot of Trump supporters and stuff thought too. But I think we obviously live in a post-Watergate world where pre-Watergate you couldn't imagine that the president of the United States could ever do a bad thing.
I mean, yeah, I like the blind faith that government, that generation had in their government was just upsetting.
But even it is, I was like, by the end of the Nixon administration, once he like resigned in shame, like it was kind of like ultimately accepted throughout most people in the country that like Nixon was an embarrassment and he was a bad president.
Yeah.
And then later on in years later, we could kind of look back and laugh at it, which is like why I feel like with Trump, like for 4 years every day waking up just in agony. I don't think there's a way to laugh at that after 20 years.
I do think one of my favorite things though is actually they did kind of laugh about it at the time a little, because I remember, you know, one thing is I'm a big freaking All in the Family General Norman Lear fan, and just it's kind of funny because that obviously talked about subjects of the day and politics and stuff, and so you get to see like basically the evolution of jokes about the Nixon administration from like 1971 going to 1979 and like through Watergate and after Watergate, and like a sitcom family reacting to Watergate and stuff.
Right.
And so it is interesting just to see how people thought about it at the time too, and not just in a lens of how did people from 20 years ago think about a thing that happened 20 years prior to that. And you know,
you know, I also just want to point out, I really think Kirsten, like, jokes aside, Kirsten Dunst and Michelle Williams are like fucking killing it in this movie. Like, they know exactly what they're in. They're doing the shtick, I think, in the way that like kind of gels with everyone else. They're a little more over the top, maybe. Like, they're a little bit more cartoony, but it really fucking works.
I felt like they almost played it a little under what I
feel
thought
like for
they were
like
gonna do. Yeah.
I also feel like for like the anarchic tone that this movie goes for, like them being like a bit like, you know, kind of hammy and over the top and in your face and kind of like taking glee and joy in like the takedown of Nixon. Like I think it works for the movie.
Yeah. I don't want to neglect though that these people are boomers and therefore they are the enemy.
Yes. Also, Jordan points out that I said that, like, as if they're not in great movies all the time. You're totally right. They're fantastic.
Yes,
I didn't mean
they
to say it like I'm surprised. I'm just surprised in this movie,
like
given
for how
these
young
roles.
they are and how like this was kind of like we said, this was the year that Kirsten Dunst kind of like she was in like Interview with a Vampire and movies when she was like a child, like a 5-year-old. But like,
and who cares about her?
But yeah,
then.
when she was in, but yeah, it was this and like Virgin Suicides. You said it came out the same year. I'll be a little bit of a dick about it. It like premiered at Sundance in '99, but like it really like you know it came out in like 2000. But anyway, so yes, at this point it's like yeah, she wouldn't have been like super well known as like a leading lady at this point, and you know, like we said, Michelle Williams known for Dawson's Creek. So I also do feel like it is like a good like time capsule of like what does like the youth think of Nixon at this time, because I also feel like we said, like adults probably had this kind of idolization at a point, but I do feel like the younger generation even at the time was kind of more, you know, hip to the idea.
I mean,
of
it was the
Nixon
same
being
thing
a
as
bad
like if we made a comedy today about our parents reacting to, and they would have even been older than this, like Clinton getting impeached or something, but you know, it was fresher in the mindset.
Absolutely. We got Pete joining us in the chat actually over on Facebook saying that as a boomer he is triggered. So Pete,
enemy.
No,
we're ready to start
Boomer.
the generation war.
Boomer is a state of mind, and you, sir,
Yes.
are not. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, we
Age
we
is just
claim
a
you.
number.
Let's not go
Which is also what
poking
Richard,
that
which is
around.
also what Richard Nixon said about maybe some of the characters in the movie. But, no.
I was so worried for this entire movie that
You
there was
thought
going
they
to
were
be a
gonna
sex
make
scene.
Nixon a sex offender.
Yeah. I mean, like, one, I wouldn't like be like it's a stretch for his character or anything. I'm just saying that like I don't want to have to fucking watch it ever, especially not in the setting of a comedy.
Yeah, no.
Like this through line of Kirsten Dunst and Michelle Williams being like weirdly sexually attracted to Richard Nixon like had me sweating, because like Richard Nixon is the kind of character who I don't know what he would do with that information. And like
especially if the movie's called
really
Dick.
worried. And the movie is just called Dick, exactly.
Imagine walking into a movie theater in 1999 and saying, "Hi, I would like one ticket for Dick." Like that sounds like a Christian mom's worst nightmare.
I'd genuinely rather say that than say one ticket to Austin Powers and the Spy Who Shagged Me. I'll take pee-pee.
Another
the savior.
euphemism for the movie, though, it did come out the same weekend as the Iron Giant, which is what I call my penis.
Very nice. By the way, it's been pointed out to me that maybe we had some technical difficulties over on Instagram. Should be up and running. Hello, Instagram. Welcome to Random Movie Roulette. Glad you can join us. Mike will apparently be checking the chat.
Yes, let me just check if that's good. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So, as far as
You'll only see Jack on Instagram though, so
I mean, is that so bad?
yeah, I think that's how God intended for the show to be watched. I have no idea
Hi,
how.
Instagram.
You can hear us. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
We're an audio podcast, first and foremost, available on all audio podcast services. So as far as Woodward and Bernstein's relationship with the girls, how did you feel about the way that kind of developed over the course of the movie? Because I feel like for like the first like 45 minutes, like they disappear.
Well, I mean, because they're in like a mock interview in like the opening scene.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be all that we see of Woodward and Bernstein. It would be kind of a joke, like, oh, Will Ferrell's playing Bernstein, or Woodward. But like, no, they do come back like halfway through once they start feeding information to the Washington Post about all of the things that they're seeing within the Nixon White House. And it's, you know, it's kind of like a lot of the same imagery that you see of them like in the top hats and the trench coats in the parking lot. So,
which is interesting.
Which is that there's two deep throats apparently.
Yeah.
Like, again, I knew that at this point, like, you know, Mark Felt was not revealed to have been Deep Throat at that time, but we all still knew that it was one person.
Right.
Like,
It would be so great if just in the movie they didn't bring it up, but they just referred to it as Deep Throats the whole time. just for the sake of keeping the reality of the
They
film.
ultimately wanted, it's revealed that they ultimately were embarrassed that it was teenage girls who did this, and so they lied.
Which is why which is revealed that's the reason why they didn't
would never
reveal
disclose their source.
Deep Throat. It's not like, we can't disclose our sources. We have to protect our identity. And they're like, no, it would just be too embarrassing if we got our information from two ditzy teenage girls.
We have Jordan coming in the chat with a fucking gem of a factoid. There was legitimately a drive-in theater that kept Dick as long as they could so that they could keep making puns with the other titles. I've seen there was like a meme of this circulating around, like the different things they would put, like, Dick between two different movie titles to make a funny. Big Dick. Like, ha ha, very funny. You guys are so fucking immature.
Anthony texted me, he just texted Deep Toot, which is a reference to a Fairly Odd Parents episode where Tootie is giving information to Timmy's parents about Vicky.
That was such a
Deep Toot.
Oh my god, that was such a fucking rush of nostalgia just hearing that. Holy shit.
There's also, what was it? Again, if we opened with a clip, we could have done the clip from Family Guy of Kermit the Frog as Deep Throat.
I mean, there are many, many Deep Throat parodies.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about probably before the past 4 years, the most parodied time of history, I think, like, ever. I mean, like,
Presidential history
at the very least. But I mean, Richard Nixon's Head in a Jar was a fucking, like, one of the main side characters of Futurama.
Part of Futurama.
Definitely
one of them.
Hands down the best recurring character on Futurama. I mean, next to the devil robot. I don't know why I like him.
Devil robot. I like Mom. There's a lot of good Futurama.
There's a lot of good ones, but I think I think Richard Nixon in a jar stands alone. He's pretty fantastic. I feel like we're reaching the end, but I do want to talk about that ending because I missed it. I missed the last 5 minutes of this movie, so I want to know, guys, what happens after they hand over that information to Woodward and Bernstein?
The ending is very cathartic and joyous, I gotta say. So the ending of the movie, the two girls, after Nixon resigns, he gets into his helicopter, and then the girls, they cut up an American flag, so those bikini
that you see in the poster onto them,
and then the trailer, it was there, and then they pull up a giant banner that says "You suck, Dick, love Deep Throat," and then they pulled up the sign as Nixon's helicopter passes their house,
and then Nixon just curmudgeonly
gives them the finger,
his fist and gives them the finger,
and then
inside.
the next shot, and the end credits plays over the two of them roller skating in the White House to Dancing Queen.
I mean, cinema has not reached such highs since. Am I right?
And Nixon also gets disgraced to You're So Vain, which, again, of all the needle drops in the movie, some fit, some don't. I think You're So Vain is also a slapper.
Yeah, let's talk about the music here for a second.
All of the music choices are like the most obvious 70s needle drops that you could pick. It's the entire soundtrack of Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie.
They don't come in at clever times for the most part. Like, it just seems like random inclusion.
Like, Hooked on a Feeling is just like playing when they're at a roller rink, which, I don't feel like Hooked on a Feeling is a roller rink song.
No, but also it plays the Ooga Chaka, Ooga in clear view, but then as soon as it gets to the chorus, it's like them talking over
the
it.
fucking amazing moment in music history when it switches into they go to mute. What the fuck is that?
I wonder if before Guardians of the Galaxy that song never even went to I wonder if like even radio stations were like Ooga Chaka, Ooga Ooga, and that's all there is of that song.
It's a 30-second song. I mean, that Ally McBeal thing, right? That was how the song became, I think, super popular, was that it was featured in a teen drama or detective drama.
Ally McBeal's not a teen drama.
Or some sort of detective weird thing.
It's not a detective.
I don't know what Ally McBeal is.
I'm
26 years old.
She's a lawyer.
Oh, fuck you. Same thing.
It's what Robert Downey Jr. became famous again for.
But yeah,
and then he went into rehab.
So anyway,
through it.
That show really popularized it. There was a dancing like CG baby. I think was the clip that did it.
So.
But it was pretty much just the Ooga Chaka part.
Yeah,
from what I understand.
But then, like, of the other needle drops we got ABC, we got Crocodile Rock, we got Come and Get Your Love, we got and none of them fit, and they're all played over dialogue scenes.
It's not until You're So Vain.
Oh, we got Louie.
What? Why? Why was that the move? There's no one named Louis in the movie. I can't think of another reason to use that song.
That song doesn't have to be played for someone named Louis. You only think that because it was in the show.
No, I think that because the entire chorus is a single name. A single name. What is the... It's not like they were playing the verses. It was the
but
fucking...
it's not like you only play Roxanne when there's a Roxanne in the room. How many Roxannes do you know? And yet it's a fucking banger.
Roxanne. I mean, like, okay. I don't believe Roxanne is a banger. We're gonna have to do a whole other tier list for this. But no, Roxanne is not a banger.
How many... Jesse's girl. What if there's not a girl who belongs to a Jesse?
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, the whole chorus of the song, it's not just saying the name over and over and over again.
Yeah, but Louis is about a guy and his whole story. It's not just about saying the name of someone because that person's in the room with you.
But do they not say the name of someone over and over and over again? It's one name. It's not like they're like Louis and Sarah and John and Eric.
Louis and Sarah.
I just missed my wife.
Just the song that would have been on the radio. I'm yawning.
Guys, we're reaching close to the halfway point of the show. I want to give you guys the opportunity. Is there anything else you want to talk about as far as dick goes?
Well, I'll say I've been reading this book called 1999, the best movie year ever, and that's what the book is called. Every chapter is dedicated to either a specific grouping of movies or a specific movie that like shows like why 1999 was such like a revolutionary year in cinema. And there's like a whole chapter dedicated just to teen comedies because they did like run rampant this year. It was 10 Things I Hate About You, which was a previous episode we did. We love that movie.
I love it so much.
Varsity Blues, Cruel Intentions.
I've never seen Varsity Blues.
Yeah,
and I never will now. Like, it's too late for me. I'm not going to enjoy Varsity Blues at 20s. It's not going to happen.
Election,
Rushmore, which those are in a chapter of its own of like
its own,
and virgin suicides
where we were afraid Dick was gonna go,
and virgin suicides of like movies that are like they're high school comedies, but they're not like that mainstream. They're like an independent type. They're like more artfully minded or like a little bit more highbrow. Like they're teen movies aimed at like adults. Whereas, like, I feel like this is in the 10 Things I Hate About You kind of camp, where it's like, this is a movie for teenagers. And
I don't... How aware do you think teenagers were of this whole
Watergate
thing?
Scandal.
Yeah.
I feel like this is very much for adults.
No,
yeah,
I mean, like,
I agree.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe if, as a kid, if you're younger, if this might be your first introduction to what
I think the difference would be, like, Rushmore, like... I could see young kids in 99 liking that.
Yeah.
I could see only their parents understanding who, like, Henry Kissinger is.
Yeah. Which is weird because, again, the way that this movie's marketed more as, like, a straightforward teen comedy. Yeah. So, like, adults wouldn't go see this on their own.
This is for, like, the dazed and confused crowd and, like, the, Boogie Nights crowd of like people who are now just turning adults but want to remember when they were teens.
Yeah, I think Mark says it well in the chat. He just says, you get the kids in with the leads, and I think that's really smart. As far as selling a movie, the best case scenario is a movie that like parents and children go to together.
Yeah,
and I guess this in a way makes a lot of sense. I mean, very few movies can a 14-year-old girl and a like 40-year-old boomer fucking bond over,
They wouldn't have been 40 at this
I know,
point.
They wouldn't have been 40. But Jesus. I don't know all the generations. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everyone older than me is a boomer. And I won't be convinced
and
otherwise.
Everyone younger than boomers is a millennial.
Exactly.
You know what sucks now? And it's already started, but millennials are now being bullied by Gen Z.
I'm a Gen Z. I found out. I'm so relieved I'm not a millennial. I am the beginning
so
of
I'm
Gen
literally
Z.
on the cusp. So this is very interesting then. So you're 94, I'm 95, and... or I'm sorry,
I'm
rather...
96, he's 94, you're 95.
I'm 95. I did that backwards.
96 is when it starts, so I'm at the very start of Gen Z, so I escaped the millennial...
Yeah, I'm real on the cusp.
Yeah.
I'm on that edge.
I would bring you in as an honorary Gen Zer if you would like.
Is it my hate of authority
Mike
and
is a
the government?
I watched 3,000 people die on TV when I was 6, and nothing ever got better after that.
See, I watched 3,000 people on TV die, and I just thought, why are they showing me this Demolition and not Yu-Gi-Oh?
Dude, yeah. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh was not airing that day. That was a pretty big bummer back then.
To not understand 9/11 until 2 years later.
And Mike's now digging around in a backpack.
All right. So,
like he's one of the girls from Dick.
All right, so for next week's list, and we're going to be doing a commentary on whatever the winner is, right?
Yes, keep in mind. So this week, we'll remind you right now, right after the show, probably about 10 minutes after the show, we're going to be going live on our Patreon, patreon.com/RMRoulette, where for $5 or more a month, you get some bonus content, which has been in the past TV Boys. Tonight is our series finale of TV Boys,
which will be another tier maker list.
Yes,
of a tier ranking of every sketch from I Think You Should Leave, that one of the greatest sketch comedy shows that will never get another season. But
season 2 was greenlit.
I know, but when is it? It's never gonna.
When
happen.
is it coming out?
Well, because COVID stopped.
Yeah,
filming.
of course.
Yeah.
And also, this is. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of selfish podcasting, but welcome to it. I don't think anyone likes it as much as this specific show. We're all about it, and we're really stoked to end TV Boys on that note. But going forward, after TV Boy ends, every week from now on, the Patreon bonus content, something that I think everyone kind of enjoys a little bit more, is commentary tracks. We're going to be doing commentary tracks for every movie that we cover on this show. We've gotten into the habit recently of watching them together regardless. So, you know,
figure it'd be fun if you could hear our banter.
Yes. And we also had such a great fucking time doing, I think, the Snyder Cut commentary. Regardless of how you feel the movie, that was a fun fucking stream. And we have folks in the chat now who are there with us, and they can attest to it. Like we all had a great time. And thank you guys for tuning in.
We'll see if the magic carries next week. I think the Snyder Cut's its own beast of.
Oh, certainly,
4
yes.
hour.
Listen. They're not all going to be the Snyder Cut, but we're going to try. We're going to try, and we're going to have a great fucking time doing it. So, Mike, what's on the docket? What's on the list for next week?
I'll just run through these quick since we're coming out quick. So
Yes.
I'm just gonna roll the dice. Okay, so number 1 is Batman 1989. Number 2 is The People Under the Stairs. Number 3 is The Raven. 2012's The Raven, starring John Cusack as Edgar Allan Poe.
For the sake of the commentary, I
think it would be funny if we watched this. Number 4, hilarious if this was the choice, is Cats. My beloved Cats. This would be the ideal commentary to start off with.
Yeah.
To see my beloved cats.
If ever there was a movie that could be a mascot for the show, it's probably that.
All right.
Yeah, or The Suckling is more.
Yes,
but
fair enough.
number 5 is Ghostbusters, the original. I feel like everybody's done commentaries on that. It could be a fun thing to go through.
Yeah.
And then number 6 is The Nice Guys, which we've all loved a lot.
Yeah.
So the winner is. Wow, it's The Raven. Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're in. Quote The Raven, nevermore.
I've never seen this movie. It just looks like dog shit and looks like fun. So hopefully it lives up to that.
And it's horror. It's right up
It
there.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
this is gonna be a weird one. Okay, so let's move on to that one next week. Anyway, yeah.
All right, guys, plug it up. What do we got?
I am Jack on 35mm on Instagram, Jack Patterson on Letterboxd.
I'm RMR Cyberberg Mike on Twitter and Instagram. You'll probably be seeing a lot less of me on Twitter because of this whole fucking Oscar. I'm trying to avoid the worst discourse of all time.
You guys
But-
did it. You bullied Mike
Yep.
off Twitter.
You can only mute so many words. All right, move on.
You can find me on Twitter at Louis J. Otero. You can find me on Instagram, where we're actually live streaming this episode right now. Again, had a bit of a technical hiccup. Sorry about that, but we'll get it straightened out for the next time. At RM Roulette Lewis over there on Instagram. You can find us all on Twitter at RM Roulette. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RM Roulette. At the $5 tier or higher, you start getting the bonus content, which will include the entire library of TV Boys that we've already done, as well as the upcoming commentary tracks that we're going to be doing. You'll get access to the Snyder Cut live stream that we did, the 4-hour long. I just won a dispute on YouTube that Warner Brothers tried to copyright claim us on that fucking video, and I fought for it, and we're released. We got it. It's up there. It's ready for you patrons. So please go check it out. We had such a great fucking time doing that, and I firmly believe that we will have more great times doing commentaries on the movies we are covering for the show. But that is all about 2 weeks from now. So thank you so much for joining us for our episode on Dick. And we will be back with The Raven in just 2 weeks. And if you are a patron, please hang on. We'll be back very, very, very soon with our TV Boys series finale. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.